Scoopity scoop.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in to our show. It is the week of June 14th, and this is StopGap, Stop Pants, Back Tits, Participation Awards, Bathtub of Crawdads, Anyone But the Haitians Join ISIS, Mall Knife Ninja Pump and Dump, A10 Warthog Overthrow, The Bourgeoisie, Blocking My Blockchain, Black Hole Explosion, The Greatest Generation, Senator Congressman Jr., Money in the Dick, Stan Cosby, Coffee Date, Peppa Pig, Gangsta Hoovia, Out of Shape, Gay Puerto Rican Genie, Good Night Biscuit, Soy Boy, Momo, Canadian White House on White House Fire, The Loneliest Tooth Radio Show.
So I got it figured out.
What,
why
the tooth?
People listen. No, why people? No, I don't have that figured out.
Oh,
That's a nightmare.
okay.
It's a fucking nightmare. The 36 minutes that they're listening
Is the intro.
It's the intro's 14, so
It's the fucking intro, yeah.
No, we got it cornered.
Yeah, but it's the week of June 14th. There's been plenty of news. The rest of G7 came out, I guess. Soon to be G6. Am I right, everybody? But good news is Trump alienated all of our allies to embrace North Korea. But in the news this week, in case you didn't know, UK law is going to require large businesses to disclose their chief executive's salaries if a company has over 250 employees. Trump threatens to end trade with all allies. What's new? U.S., Canada, and Mexico win the bid to host the 2026 World Cup. Anthony Bourdain committed suicide this week. And the Israeli army edited the video of a Palestinian medic being shot and killed to make it seem like she was acting as a human shield for Hamas. Operation Broken Heart in the United States leads to the arrest of 2,300 suspected child sex offenders in the all across the United States. Another celebrity death this week. Fleetwood Mac guitarist Danny Kerwin is dead at the age of 68. And our final bit of news is that the court trial for the two gamers responsible for the swatting death of a Kansas man has started.
How many sex offenders they round up?
2,300.
We're missing a few people.
Holy shit.
They missed you.
Yeah, that's the majority of the
we're like
support
4
group.
down. We're like 4 people down. What's going on? That's where was it? Countrywide?
Coincidence?
I know, right? Where's
Yeah,
Alicia?
It was countrywide.
Pervert. Okay. Well,
They must have overlooked Vegas.
And
no.
the new Kid Cudi album came out this week.
Yeah, the new Cudi album came out. And it's better than Ye.
It's grown on me. I think I might actually like it more than Ye 2 now.
Yeah. That's what everybody's saying, is that it's so much. Like, Ye was great. Somehow the Cudi album was just so much better.
Huh?
Like, because Man on the Moon was a great Cudi album.
That was the only one. That was the only good one.
Yeah, and then he released some stuff that really just seemed like it was more catharsis for him.
Yeah, and it also just wasn't as clean cut and mastered. Like, there was a lot of moments where he goes off pitch, and somehow he remained on pitch, which is crazy for him. This entire album.
Talk about off pitch. Did you hear that Blueface bleed him?
No.
This is blowing up.
What's the name of the new Cudi album?
Kids See Ghosts.
Oh, it's only 7 songs.
Yep.
Everybody's doing these short albums now. Okay, just add it to my Spotify. I will listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's.
I mean, they're both doing what they're best at.
That's good. I mean, I really enjoyed his first album.
Yeah.
So, and it was kind of disappointing that he had never been able to get. I didn't feel like anything he'd done had come close to it.
Well,
you know what I mean? Quality.
I feel like his first album was like him making it big, and he was happy for like the first time in a long time, and then he realized that it was like all hollow. So his upcoming the rest of his writing up until Kids See Ghosts was just him. It wasn't
even the writing that was bad though. Honestly, just the whole album was terrible.
Well, that's what a lot of people said, and they said that it also grew on his old albums. Also grew on them. Like, it's not good as far as rap goes, but if you just just listen to it as its own standalone.
That happens a lot.
Is Kid Cudi or Drake responsible for emo rap?
Drake. Cudi. I'd probably put it on Cudi.
I mean, when I was like 18 in high school, Day and Night first came out from the mixtape, and I didn't remember what my speech from my speech class was, so I skipped the hour right before that, got really fucking high, and then went into my speech class and just did spoken word Day and Night.
You were that kid.
Come again?
Because that was all I could remember at that moment.
But yeah, Day and Night soundtrack to my life.
So I would say it's Cudi, not Drake.
Because that was out in what, 2008?
Yeah, something like that.
2007.
Wow.
Man on the Moon.
So that happens a lot though with people like their follow-up albums.
No, it's a sophomore slump, but he's had like multiples, and we're not even going to talk about that rock album.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably trying to change something up because he can't figure out why he doesn't have the fire anymore. But he doesn't have the fire because
he had a really good. He was on Joe Rogan. He had a really good Joe Rogan episode with Cudi.
Yeah, I love Joe Rogan.
Interesting.
I'll go watch that. Joe Rogan gets down with people.
Oh yeah, for those of you that are wondering, Concrete and Alicia both had personal stuff to attend to, and Wayne is on his way home. He's probably eating dinner, and then he'll come on. Oh, the theme of the show tonight is Gentrification 2. It didn't really make the newsreel because it's not really international news or big news, but a man in Oakland.
Oaktown? Actually there.
He was harassing a homeless man in a park and took all of his shit. Well, the homeless man wasn't there, but he just started taking this homeless man's shit and throwing it into a lake, saying that he's cleaning up the trash.
Have you ever seen Lake Merritt? It's not the cleanest. The people in Oakland are crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't. I've never seen Lake Barrett.
Well, I'm just saying it's not the cleanest lake in the world, you know. So he's throwing trash in trash.
But Oakland is the most recent example of like very extreme gentrification because Oakland has historically been a black city.
Yeah.
And the introduction of all of these.
Well, not always though. The Hells Angels came out of there.
Out of Oakland?
Yeah, the Hells Angels. Sonny Barger was from. It was out of Oakland. I mean, there was. Oakland's always been kind of white or black, but East Oakland, all black. West Oakland, all white. But I mean,
Oakland has historically been an impoverished city.
Yeah, no question about it.
And it does have a very deep black culture in Oakland.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's also been a no-fly zone for a lot of cops.
Yeah.
That's where the Black Panthers came from. Was from Oakland.
Mm-hmm. But the Hells Angels.
Yeah.
But
it's like it was California. You got to understand California.
That's just even a better example of that. It's a place where people have felt marginalized and have come out with their own organizations to help them feel empowered or to take, to be able to assert their place in society. Both Hells Angels and Black Panthers.
California's a weird place. Like, I grew up there. I grew up in the Bay Area. I grew up like right outside of Oakland. I've lived in Oakland. It's like everybody lives together. You know what I mean? Like in the Bay Area or in California, pretty much. Like there's segregated places where people live, but it's not like other places where it's like my wife grew up in Staten Island. To her, she's Italian, and to her, somebody ethnic is Jewish or Irish. You know what I mean? She wouldn't even think about knowing, or she had no idea of knowing anybody other than like an Irish or an Italian or a Jew. So they're real segregated. California's not necessarily like that.
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't help too with like how fucking crazy prices of rent are getting. And like
I lived in Oakland,
stuff like that.
I lived in Oakland in '99, $2,200 a month, and I couldn't go outside. I lived in East Oakland. I could not go outside, and it was $2,200 a month in '99. I mean, not the worst neighborhood in the Bay Area.
Yep, and now realize how much all of the rest of it costs.
Yeah, I know.
Atlanta's like that too. Atlanta's crazy expensive to not even be like in a great area.
You should see San Francisco. It's worse than just about anywhere. I mean, they have tent cities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, San Francisco. See, that's what San Francisco's always been expensive. And then
right
the Silicon Valley
in the country, I believe.
Yeah. I think New York might be a little bit more.
No, I think it's
not
San Francisco.
It passed New York actually.
Did it really?
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. I was like, like all the whole area also around Oakland's getting expensive.
Well, no, that's what's requiring Oakland. That's what's causing Oakland. People, San Francisco's getting expensive, and it probably started. People saw just go across the bay.
But you got to look at
all this cheap housing.
But it's not cheap, but cheaper. But you got.
It was dirt fucking cheap.
No, it wasn't. I lived in Oakland in '99. It was $2,200 a month for a one-bedroom apartment in the fucking ghetto, like in the fucking ghetto. But it's cheaper than whatever the fuck it was. And here's what you got to understand about the Bay Area. San Francisco's right here. San Jose is down in the South Bay, and then you got Oakland. I know. I'm not pointing. I'm saying I'm giving you general location.
How are you giving us a general location?
Because I said you got.
I've got 3 monitors. San Francisco's on this one.
Here's one's here, one's here, one's here.
San Jose's down here.
Okay, if your asshole is San Francisco, and your toes are San Francisco or San Jose, that's the Silicon Valley. So the Silicon Valley is just as expensive. You know what I mean? The valley is down south, and then you got San Francisco up north, a little bit north or whatever.
What posture are my legs in? Are they bent? Are they straight? Am I sitting Indian style?
They're in a certain neighborhood in San Francisco. Your legs. They're in the Castro district, I think. I don't know. You're too young. You looked at me like, what the fuck is the Castro district? What
is the Castro district? I'm curious now.
It's a gay neighborhood in San Francisco. Everybody thinks that San Francisco is all gay. It's literally like one neighborhood where they like really, really, really go all out.
Yeah, that's like Chelsea in New York, right?
Yeah. Yeah, San Francisco's fucking dangerous. It's not like you could go there and it's all. That's what shocked me the most when I moved out of the Bay Area. Is it every time I say San Francisco, people make this face?
You mean like
What
every
face?
major city has a
we
really
can't see
shitty
your
area
face.
you
What
shouldn't go
face?
to?
I said they would make a certain face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm glad I
I
don't
didn't
live in
know
Orange
that.
Mound anymore.
Oh Jesus, you live for real?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, that's like
You lived where?
like you can talk about bad neighborhoods wherever, but like Orange Mound, like Memphis has like some of the worst I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, Orange Mound is pretty bad living for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
All it takes is a little bit of gentrification.
I've been through there before. I did not hang out very long.
But luckily, I live in Germantown now, which is about as gentrified as it sounds.
No, it sounds
Memphis
Memphis
is a great city. It's just you gotta.
It's successful.
I wouldn't say it's a great city. It's a shithole, to be honest.
Well, when was Germantown founded?
But it has its own charm to me because I've been here for so long.
Was it before or after the war?
I have no idea, Jerry.
It used to be split.
I'd say it was probably founded around 1920.
No, the first one. Way to go there.
You got the mango. Is that the mango one or the pineapple?
And then Germantown sort of slowed down in 1945.
Problem. I heard it split.
Oh, fucking high chew, dude.
Yeah.
That's my shit. No one knew about it.
The mango joints.
Dude, they're so fucking good.
We've got a bomb out of it.
But Memphis has they have the music history. They have like the entertainment history. You got the pyramid, and then they have the food. And
do you know what the pyramid is now?
What is that?
No, I haven't been there in a long time.
Right, the pyramid has been transformed from a former sports arena into a giant Bass Pro Shop.
Are you serious?
Get the fuck out of here.
100% serious.
When did that happen?
Like, I think 2007, 2008.
Oh, wow.
Illuminati.
Dude, best fishing.
I haven't been there since 2004, maybe, something like that. But I remember watching fights. I remember watching fights on TV.
Tyson fought there as well.
I used to watch the Grizzlies play at the pyramid.
Right.
Not anymore.
Wow. That's depressing.
Yeah, it's super depressing.
Scary. It's scary.
And what's even more depressing is some people are happy about it.
Well, you're in Memphis.
Yeah, there are people that love the fact they can go to a Bass Pro Shop that is like hundreds of thousands of square feet and has a restaurant in it.
Yeah,
I think they all are like
that's
that,
like
though.
Cabela's in Michigan.
Where?
That giant Cabela's in Michigan. It has a fucking food
The
court.
headquarters.
Yeah, their headquarters where you can purchase fucking bison, emu, kangaroo burgers.
Yeah.
Actually, when I worked in Wyoming, I used to cook a lot of like bison burgers and elk burgers. They were actually really good.
Sit in the center of your fucking camera if you want it to focus, Jerry.
I'll buy like ground bison from the grocery store sometimes to just switch it up from beef.
Yeah, elk's really good if you don't mind lean meat. Like,
I've had a ton
and they're parasites, so you're probably best off eating them.
Well, you also need to. You don't just take into effect that it's lean meat. You also need to think about the cut, because like people don't like extra lean beef, but fillets are the like some of the most lean meat you can get.
But it's also some of the least worked too, though. Like that muscle doesn't do anything.
So like
it's also tasteless.
Even without, dude, you shut your fucking whore mouth.
It really is.
It takes on flavors really well.
Wow.
Yeah, but a good steak shouldn't require all of that.
No, you just need salt and pepper to bring out.
You get some good dry aged Wagyu, and you don't need to do anything.
Well, yeah, I'm not paying. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Big E Liquid. I'm not paying $40 a fucking pound for a steak.
It's not.
I'm just
like
saying,
your attitude
filet is a scam, and it's been the biggest scam since the 80s.
I love it.
Not when you can buy a full tenderloin for like $80.
It's very tender and very tasteless. It is the most tasteless part of the cow.
And honestly, the majority of the tenderloins that I bought, I didn't even smoke. I froze, and my wife uses them to cook in like fucking.
Hey, Mister, no one's attacking you.
You're welcome to have an opinion, but you're wrong.
I'll take a ribeye or a hanger steak any day.
Using fillets as a cooking meat as well in like fucking beef stroganoff or some shit is so fucking good.
Stroganoff cooks for hours, so anything with more connective tissue is going to be more tender,
Well,
which is not filet.
no, that's the thing. You don't have to cook for hours when you use fucking filet. You just toss it in there and it absorbs the flavor.
The whole point of stroganoff is to let everything sit in the crock pot for like 6 hours.
There's no Irish tricks.
Flavors develop, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be better off the next day too.
He only makes pizza rolls anyway, so I don't know what we're discussing.
Hey, he smokes the pizza rolls in his smoker.
Beef medallions. Ooh.
But yeah, but I'm 100% ribeye and hanger steak all the way. That shit is good.
And I hate that hanger steak is like a known thing now because you used to be able to get those mad cheap from the butcher.
Yeah. There's only one per cow, I think, right?
Wait, what's hanger? Is it like skirt?
Some hippie bullshit.
It used to just be like a throwaway cut because it's like kind of an odd cut of meat. Looks weird, but it was.
They put their Irish tricks on it.
Yeah, it's actually a packaged cut now. Like at Wegmans, that they're in their meat department, they have hanger steak in pre-wrapped. Before, you used to have to go to and talk to the meat cutter or the butcher and be like, "Hey, can I get the hanger cut off of that?" And now it's already out there.
Nope.
Yeah. Thin skirt steak with chimichurri. That shit's good too.
You're a chimichurri.
Yeah. Skirt. I mean, if you're going on the grill, if you're going on actual going on charcoal skirt steak, yeah, you can't beat that.
I'm about it.
You can get nice crispy edges and everything. Yeah, it's good shit.
I feel like new steaks are like secondary thoughts.
I'm not saying ribeye isn't great. I'm just saying I enjoy. I love.
You don't want to have to chew a whole lot, is what you're saying.
Yes,
I definitely do not.
That is what I love about fucking fillets. Like you can cut it with a fork. And honestly, I don't really use forks when I eat steak. I fucking go at it with my palms, and you fucking pull it apart and just pop a piece in your mouth.
I feel like a pizza.
Pizza roll steak.
It's like
I eat it like a pizza. I'm not kidding.
It just depends how much you love the inherent flavor of beef fat.
True.
Well, I'm not. I like what's on it.
I'm actually not a big fan of like the flavor of beef fat.
That's fine.
I'm a fan of seared like beef protein. The flavor that comes when you.
That sounds really gross for some reason.
Because what else are you gonna call it? Like
don't call it that. Because the only thing I eat, I'm a vegetarian except for I eat filet mignon, and I'm not eating anymore. You said that. Yeah, it's fucking gross that you just said that.
No, you're not eating anymore because you're all out of teeth.
But I can have filet, right? Cut it with a fucking knife or a fork.
That's a good point.
I understand what you're saying, though. You're a fan of the chemical reaction that happens when you sear protein. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
The Maillard reaction.
Don't say I'm not a steak guy.
You're not a steak guy.
Yes,
you like
I
filet.
am. No,
you like filet more than
it doesn't matter
ribeye.
if I'm not saying I like it more than ribeye.
You like the sissy cut. That's what I'm saying.
All right, maybe you're a steak guy, but you're not a beef guy.
No, you're not a whatever these guys are.
In fact, you're kind of a soy boy Momo.
No, I'm not.
Soy boy beta.
I don't like soy.
Well done with ketchup.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, well done with ketchup. Amber's a chef in a high-end restaurant. She does.
I think the best way to
do that.
The best way to eat filet is as tartare. How old's your
fucking daughter? Because you say she's 13 and she's a chef in a high-end restaurant.
I said Amber.
Oh, okay. I don't know your daughter's name.
You need to calm the fuck down, to be honest with you. You're a little high-strung.
That's what makes this show entertaining.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm getting all worked up.
He knows I don't mean it. I like that he's getting all worked up. I hope he has an aneurysm on the air.
All right. Hey, wait. Okay, we've diverged far. I want to go. I actually do want to talk about the gentrification thing.
Okay. Then.
Not that I wanted to be the one to start it, but I did want to go back to it.
I thought we were gonna wait for Wayne or whatever.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, then
we're waiting for Wayne because he's got some hot, steamy piles on gentrification.
Oh, okay.
He is gentrification.
I'd say hot takes, but it's mostly just shit.
Load.
Yeah, all right. Eyes Evil says ribeye is a holy grail and absorbs flavor best too. See, I think piling too much flavor on a ribeye is a crime. I think you really want to let the flavor of the ribeye shine because that's such a flavorful piece of meat.
I think people see what they like.
I think that's with all steaks, like actual steaks. You shouldn't require flavoring. It should be the Maillard reaction that's giving
the
steak
salt and pepper.
Flavor.
Baste it with butter as you cook it, and then throw it on a plate. That's it.
If they made it,
use too much butter.
Yeah.
All right. So the classic Michelin technique, right, is to is to cook it in a pan, very hot pan, extremely hot. Hey, I'm giving you guys the tricks of the trade. You should fucking.
Thanks. Is there any other tricks you don't know in any trade?
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I watch fucking what's his name, the angry cunt from England. I can't remember his name.
Wait, so do you do
Graham Cure
in the oven before you sear, or do you sear and then go in the oven?
No,
sear in the oven.
You do the whole steak in the pan, never in the oven.
Okay.
Yep. And then once you sear both sides, throw butter in there, crack a garlic, throw it on top of the steak, throw a sprig of thyme or two, and then baste that shit over the
thyme or two. See what he did there? The thyme or two.
Yeah.
Don't you usually like take a spoon basically and just keep throwing butter on?
Yep, you keep piling it on top of the steak.
When were you a Michelin chef?
Cast iron pan. I've worked in Michelin star restaurants, Grim.
Oh yeah.
Do you do time after time?
Time after.
You will find me. If you're searing your steak, will they find you?
I find steak on the grill very overrated, but a skirt steak I'll do on the grill.
I smoked 2 cowboy ribeyes over charcoal, like a low, very low charcoal.
Cowboy momos.
And then I had a little side smoker box on the barrel grill that I have, and it turned out so fucking good. And then all you do is you just start another chimney when it's about done, take the steaks off for a minute, and fucking throw the charcoal on there and get it nice and hot and sear them motherfuckers.
I feel like that story fell apart at the end.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Hold on. Dent said steak on the grill like a man. Fucking bullshit. No. Steak on a grill is an inferior form of cooking steak.
Never
I'm not gonna lie. Like it's inferior in almost every way.
Yeah, smoking is for pork shoulder.
Smoking's for pork shoulder and for brisket.
Smoking's for basically the whole pig. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The whole pig, the whole turkey, the whole chicken.
No, you deep fry turkeys.
No.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Smoked turkey's so good.
My gripe with turkey is that they have ballooned in size over the years. To the point where when you cook them, certain parts are done before others. So if you cook them to completion, they are basically overcooked in certain parts. So you have to
take them apart. You take them apart first.
Absolutely, you have to quarter them, which is the untraditional thing to do.
Which means you got to get out the fucking chainsaw because now you have a 40-pound bird to cut. And the fucking steroids and antibiotics that are pumped into it turned its bones into iron.
Yeah, they used to look like chickens.
You got the same way. You got the bolt cutters out in the middle.
Chickens haven't gotten as extreme to where you can't cook them all.
And you can still
there's a reason no one does whole chicken anymore in restaurants. Like they do squab now because chickens have gotten so big too. Unless you can get like really nice chickens that aren't gigantic.
I need to get some Cornish hens again and see if it's better smoked.
That's what chickens used to look like.
Yeah.
Well, everything's taking the other one.
They used to just look like pigeons. They had big breasts and no other meat on them.
Cornish hens fly.
Wait, I'm looking at the chat. Beef ribs are inferior to pork ribs.
Absolutely.
Unless you're Chinese.
I mean, I won't argue about, if you give me a plate of ribs, I won't be like, no, I won't take these, but pork ribs are definitely superior.
I'm not gonna discriminate between the beef versus pork barbecue thing because I appreciate both and they are both delicious.
Well, I like the Memphis barbecue style. I like North Carolina barbecue style too, but Memphis is also really good.
I think you can easily combine those two as far as sauces are concerned.
Wait.
Best of both.
Can we all agree that Alabama barbecue is fucking blasphemy?
I didn't even know that's a thing.
Mayo-based barbecue sauce.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Georgia does that too.
No, that started in Alabama though. The white sauce.
White barbecue sauce. Yeah.
It's fucking. It's blasphemy. Don't that shouldn't touch meat. Get the fuck out of here.
There's a place in Maryland called Mission Barbecue, and they have like a whole selection of like different like regional barbecue sauces, and they have that Alabama nonsense. They have that white sauce, whatever. But they have like a Chesapeake Bay one, which is it's like barbecue sauce, but it has Old Bay.
Old Bay, yeah.
So good.
So I really like
it's the vinegar and mustard.
Yeah, but you can also have a vinegar base with a sweeter sauce, which is what I like personally.
North Carolina mustard, right?
I find the sweeter sauces work well on the very like the slightly milder pork. You just do a thin sweet rub basically, and then on the fattier pork, like let's say you do pulled pork and then you double cook it, so you fry it in butter after you pull the pork. That's going to be very fatty, so you want something with acid to cut.
I usually take a nap after I pull my pork.
Yeah, oh, look at you, I'm sticking around.
Yeah, that's a jerking off joke.
Wait, but Shindo, you guys, the hot chicken, that's a Memphis thing.
Yeah, then that's a Nashville thing, but
Okay.
it's definitely kind of here, but not as much as it is in Nashville.
Okay, because you don't find it anywhere outside of Tennessee, like at all.
Not really, no.
I don't even know what
I've had it before. I've had it before, and they are not kidding when they say it's hot.
Yeah, it's fucking hot, and it's good too. I love
it. Have you ever sous vide a steak in like butter? Like you throw a shit ton of butter in the bag, and you
need to ask Alicia about that.
If you do it, usually you do it with something like veal, though, or like not even veal, but like venison, because people are very familiar with steak, right? It's something they grew up with. Yeah, so they're very familiar with the texture, and when you sous vide anything, it fucks with the texture. Yeah. So
everything.
So you don't hit that nostalgia factor with people that like reminds them of things, like absorbs into their memory.
Right. The only way I'll do
that's what you're always striving for. So
if I do beef like that, it's just going to be kind of like a roast. So it's like you're making a stew anyway, just doing it faster.
Yeah. Which now they have pressure cookers for. That's generally what you do.
See, I'm not a fan of veal. Like I don't have any issues.
No,
I don't have issues with. I'm not going to get into like morality. So like I'll eat it, but like that doesn't have a ton of flavor because it has never moved around or done anything, and the texture with it is always weird to me. So I've just never been a fan of.
It's not good. I don't like veal.
Yeah.
I like
watery.
I like veal a lot actually, but it's got to be pounded out. And
so you like young meat to be pounded out?
Yeah, he wants his young meat pounded. It's never done anything in dark rooms.
Dude, no, Wiener Schnitzel is awesome.
And I love lamb. I was in the chat. It's like, you can't eat veal or lamb. Lamb is fantastic. I like lamb. Yeah. I love lamb. I love goat.
Dude, fucking lamb lollipops. There was this place in Monterey that did lamb lollipops where they'd take the like the lamb riblets where it just had that chunk of meat on the end.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they'd pull the skin and the fat back over it, and then cook that to a medium rare, and then they'd season it with just salt and pepper. And lamb already has that very, very savory, very umami flavor when it's seared.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took an apple grape mint gelatin and like just drizzled it over it, and holy fucking shit.
Is that what umami is?
I was broke, and that was like a $13 appetizer at this restaurant, and I was fucking in love.
There are certain things that are just like famous with lamb, and one of them is mint jelly, obviously, but also like sour cherries, mustard, pistachios. Those like pretty much everyone goes back to those.
A lesson.
But lamb's fucking delicious. However, I have found that like some lamb is absolutely disgustingly gamey, and then some isn't. It really depends what time of year you're buying the lamb, which is so strange.
Whatever time of year it was, I had it because I tried it once and it was so fucking gamey. Like that's what I was saying. Is that what the umami flavor is? Because I don't.
No, gamey means that it's tough.
No, it's like
no. Gamey means it tastes funky, like wild.
Yeah, and that's because of what they. I mean, for wild stuff like venison and bison and that kind of stuff, it's because of what it eats.
I kind of like the gamey flavor then.
I do not.
Venison
like, I really like venison a lot. Yeah, venison's really good. But
it makes
lamb and like I love like make a good shepherd's pie with ground lamb, or
you're in Pennsylvania too though.
Like gyros or shawarma, or kebab meat, all of that stuff. Scrapple is fantastic.
You eat that?
Yeah, hell yeah, I eat that.
Like lamb,
I don't even know what it is.
Venison, gamey meats make great jerky. Like
I grew up eating lamb, so I'm kind of immune to the gaminess, but that's just the Lebanese thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, that's the entire Levant region, the entire Mediterranean.
Every day, and I get tired of it.
Yeah. Did you ever have Anza?
Anza, what's Anza?
Goat.
Yeah, I've had goat.
Yeah, it's actually
mostly an Indian though.
It's pretty decent.
There's a Caribbean place around my corner. It's a Caribbean Korean fusion joint, and they have like a ton of good goat dishes because of the Caribbean.
Yeah, they jerk all that shit.
Okay, so mathematical says the gamey taste is from adrenaline in the animal when it is killed. If a deer dies as soon as you shoot it, it's going to taste a lot less gamey than a deer that runs for a mile before it dies. So you're saying slugs. You want to blow the entire fucking chest out of this deer so that it can't run.
No, you go for the neck.
Okay, just knock the fucking deer guillotine. You just set that up in your woods. Give them some corn and just fucking ding.
It's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
No fear.
That might affect taste to a certain degree, but it wouldn't affect it to the point of a gamey lamb.
Well, I don't believe that.
You mentioned
it will affect the toughness though if you don't kill an animal instantly because of rigor mortis.
You've mentioned that the hormones make meat taste terrible.
True.
Yeah, I think that I've heard that before. What you're saying?
See,
that it does affect it.
And
I'm saying it definitely
is a
probably
very
affects
prominent hormone.
And you just said that some is gamey and some isn't, or some taste on it. So maybe one of it's like scared.
Yeah, I found it tends to be what time of year you buy it.
That's why soy boys don't get love because they're full of estrogen.
And afraid.
I think it has more to do with what their actual diet is because of the difference between like grain-fed and grass-fed cattle. Like you can taste the difference between that. So I think it's more like what they're feeding it during different times of the year.
I want cattle-fed cattle.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't do that anymore because that's how we all get mad cow disease.
Yeah. Well, no, you get rid of mad cow disease and then you do the cattle-fed cattle.
Or you become immune to it.
Yeah. There you go. Immune to prions. Immune to something that isn't even technically a disease. Well, it's a disease, but it's not really a contagion considering it's a misfolded protein gram.
All right. To act like I'm the only one that doesn't get this.
Do you guys know what prions are?
I do.
You do? Okay, then the other three of you
only somewhat paid attention.
I'm about to fucking terrify you. All right.
Not me. I don't need that shit.
Mad cow disease. It's caused by a prion. For those of you that don't know what prions are, it is a misfolded protein. So it's essentially a genetically mutated, naturally genetically mutated protein. It's not even a cell. It's just a protein. So it can't be sterilized by regular methods. Ethyl alcohol does nothing to it. Bleach does nothing to it. You need to get it up to like 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit in order to even start to degrade this protein. And the most terrifying part of it is that this prion, any protein that it comes in contact with, it corrupts and causes it to start producing misfolded proteins.
Ugh.
You're muted, Matt.
I thought you were describing me.
It teaches it how to misfold as well.
Yeah. So and then what the problem with prions and why it causes mad cow disease is that they gather in the brain and it starts causing the proteins in the brain to misfold, which means you get a bunch of malformed cells.
You explained that very well.
But it's where a basic building block of life just decides not to.
Huh. Yeah, I need that.
And that's why mad cow disease is such a problem. That's why people that were in Europe in like the 80s, 90s, and 2000s aren't allowed to give blood in the United States because the chances of them having prions, even if it's a fraction of a percent of a chance that they would have prions, it's not worth the risk because all of the machinery that is used to donate blood would have to be completely sterilized, meaning incinerated. You have to use disposable tools if you have a prion in order for it to actually be sterilized. That's why prions are such a danger in the surgery business as well.
Although luckily it seems like we didn't have the mass explosion of people being affected with Crutchfeld-Jacobs syndrome, which is the human equivalent of mad cow disease, because they thought it was going to be a lot higher.
Yeah.
Like that was a big panic in the early 2000s that they thought there was going to be a huge increase in the number of people suffering from it. And luckily it seems like it hasn't happened, but they traced that back to they were feeding meat, they were feeding meat cattle like bone meal from diseased cattle, from cattle that did have that.
They really just like the industrial waste from cattle. They took the brains, they took the hooves, they took the spinal cord, pretty much anything that, like bone meal, anything that they couldn't sell in a grocery store, they just ground up and mixed
and they fed it back to the other animals. So then it just kept, because the way prions were first really discovered was it was a
cannibalistic, right?
It was the South Pacific, or it might have been in Indonesia. It was
ritualistically cannibalistic. When their loved ones died, it was on
the
family
to eat, and they would mainly eat the brain. It was called kuru, was the name of the disease, and it had been known for like generations within. Yeah. And once they made established contact with like the outside world and like schooled them on the practices and stuff, like kuru, once like that generation died out, like it really hasn't reappeared because they don't do that anymore. They don't eat the brains of the deceased family members and stuff. So
they say they don't.
Well, I mean, if they don't have kuru, then
yeah, I guess that's true.
But it was like the incidence of it, I forget what the percentage was, but it was like well over like 50%. Like it was very, very high, the amount of people that developed it. And that's basically how the prion disease was kind of figured out by the Western world through the exposure with them. Hold on, let me look. I'm gonna see where they were.
It's fucking nuts, though. Prions are fucking terrifying because there's no telling. Like all it takes is like the surgery that happened before you, if they had an undiagnosed prion disease, which also diagnosis for them is still in the initial stages. They haven't quite figured out how to diagnose prions or any sort of prion related disease, because once again, it's a protein. How do you screen for just a specific protein in the brain?
Wayne ain't coming on.
Papua New Guinea is where it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 4A people of Papua New Guinea.
Wasn't there just something on them recently, like on Vice or something? They were talking about
the epidemic declined sharply after discarding cannibalism from 200 deaths per year in 1957 to 1 or no deaths annually in 2005, and the last known kuru victim died in 2009. So it's gone now.
That's by Australia?
Papua New Guinea it's north. It's north of New Zealand.
Okay.
Like just barely north of New Zealand.
They think that there's a pterodactyl there, right? I know I saw something on Papua New Guinea.
Really?
Yeah, there's something. They think that there's like some kind of maybe leftover something there. I don't know if they think it's a pterodactyl or what. No, they think it's a pterodactyl.
Is this the same news source
fuck yourself.
that you got the second shooter from?
You looked a little terrified last week, bro. Like if you didn't think that there might have been one that got away. I don't know. You had the maybe one got away look on your face last week. When your wife was at a country music festival?
No, I was just terrified of another crazy person doing that shit.
Oh, not someone connected?
No.
I don't know.
Do you think every like school shooting's connected? Like they're all like buddies?
No, but if there one got away.
If one got away, he's gonna fucking lay low. He got away.
Maybe, but he's crazy.
And he didn't.
I know.
Because there wasn't a second shooter, my dude.
Are you really trying to tell me you're not looking at some of that shit and going like, what? Because I'm in Vegas, right? And that shit is like very like it's like being in New York after 9/11. Like they're like it's way more.
Yes, because your brain finds your psyche finds it fucking terrifying that one man would be able to do that much damage.
That's not what it is. That's not what it is. I was outside and I heard 2 different RPMs and clearly 2 different gunshots. That's why I think that. I said it this next morning before any of that started happening.
It's an echo. Do you not know what an echo is?
At different RPMs?
It depends. It depends what's...
Bro, if I walked outside and you saw how close I am to Mandalay Bay, like literally I could see it. Like it's like...
Yes, at 2 different times because there are a ton of buildings there. It bounces off from different buildings. It bounces off at
Mandalay Bay
angles.
is isolated, bro. Mandalay Bay is isolated. I'm just telling you, it sounded like there was 2. I'm just saying, you're probably right, but I'm just saying, if you look at a lot of the shit that's going on in this case, it's weird. I'm not a conspiracy guy either. Like, it's just weird. It's just weird
Don't you believe in the Mandela effect?
No, I don't believe in the Mandela effect. I think come on, dude.
The pterodactyl in Papua New Guinea was a hoax.
Oh,
I thought it was the Mandela effect.
Listen, I'm not saying I believe in any of that. All I said was they think there's a pterodactyl there or something, right? Like I remember I saw something on it, Papua New Guinea. That's all I was talking
about. Yeah. I wanted to look it up because that would be fascinating if there was a giant flying reptile still.
Yeah,
eyes evil. I used to swim in Lake Erie. Do not call that fucking lake beautiful. It is salty and it's a freshwater lake. All right, that shit should not happen.
I find most lakes are kind of.
No, like Lake Erie's fucking salty.
Oh, like it's salt, like
you go swimming in it, it gets in your mouth and it's like alkaline and salty.
Oh God, you go in that kind of water?
Yeah,
you go in the ocean?
I used to swim in it all the time.
What about the ocean?
Yeah, I'll swim in the fucking ocean.
No. Oh.
What?
I can't even imagine going in the ocean and swimming in it.
Why not?
So scary. It's because it's fucking terrifying. It's the scariest thing. Are you looking at me like I'm the only one that's afraid of the fucking ocean? Come on, it's like a well-known thing, isn't it?
It just seems irrational.
Does it really?
Yeah.
It seems irrational that. Yeah. Ask the chat. It's irrational that you guys are looking at me like I'm fucking crazy for being afraid of the ocean. I don't know.
I mean, it's the same as like when I find people that are scared to fly.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I mean, I get it, but like, I feel like it just limits you so much.
Yeah, but I don't miss it, you know? Like, I don't miss going in the ocean, really. I know the flying thing. Like, I'm not afraid to be, like, on a boat, you know what I mean? Or anything. I like, you know.
No, I'm just saying, those are fears that, like, I understand them. Like, I get it. Like, there's a bunch of crazy shit in the ocean, right? Sharks, you know, and, like, you can drown and, you know, what, like, I get it. And same with flying. There could be an accident, you could crash, you know, whatever, but at the same time it's like I feel like it limits people like so much. Like people that don't fly don't really travel that, you know, they travel within the US, but like it's a big world that we've managed to make small because we can travel like that.
Right.
It's a shame to not see it while you can't. You know, you only get, you know, this isn't a dress rehearsal. You only get one go round at this. So like, I want to see as much of it as I can.
But what's my fear of the ocean? I don't like if it was flying, I would totally understand that. I'd be like, wow, I can't do shit.
No, you just sound like a soy boy beta bitch.
No, it's just like, I mean, but there's like a bunch.
I guarantee you,
there's a bunch of beautiful, like fun, like you wouldn't want to go. Haven't you ever seen the pictures of like those villas that they have like on the beaches, like in Greece, where it's like the open and it's right out on the beach, and then you go and you like, I love that. Ocean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I love that. I just don't want to be in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like it's limiting. I feel like it's shrinking I feel like it shrinks your worldview.
What do you
That's
mean?
Just my
what
opinion.
do you mean in the ocean? If you're
that's all my fear is. Like I would look at the ocean all day, or look at like maybe like a glass bottom boat or down in something. You know what I mean? I just don't want to be in the fucking ocean, in the water with those fucking terrifying, delicious animals.
I think everything in Australia, I'm looking at the chat, I think everything in Australia wants to kill you, right? You got the blue ring octopus, you got the crazy man-o-war jellyfish, you got the...
Man-o-wars don't kill you. Box jellyfish kills
you. Saltwater alligators.
You got funnel spiders, you got like 3 of the most deadly snakes on the planet.
They got cassowary there, which are just angry fucking birds with giant claws on their feet.
And then don't forget about the Great Emo War.
Yeah.
And then stonefish, which I'm not sure if it's stonefish or rockfish, but if you step on one, they have a poison that like basically makes you feel the most insane amount of pain you could possibly imagine.
Oh, and don't they have that tree? Don't they have that
tree that makes you kill yourself? Yeah, because it hurts so bad.
Oh
okay, yeah. I need Julian to defend Australia now at this point because we've just pointed out like 9 deadly things in Australia.
And the worst part about the Irukandji is that it's like fucking tiny. Like you can't see that shit.
The blue ring octopus are like teeny tiny little octopi too.
What are the things that remember? I think it was you, Skittles. We were talking to Theo, and he was telling us about those where there's just thousands of them, millions of them now. What the fuck was he talking about? They brought them over. They don't have a natural predator.
Oh, the cane toads.
Yeah.
Also camels.
Yeah, but they're fast.
Yeah, Australian camels are sold to Saudi Arabia for racing camels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're much faster.
I wonder why.
They have to outrun death.
We're upside down. Oh, that's true.
No, they're running. They're running from their problems.
And then wildfire and drought. Just but at the same time, everybody that I know has gone to Australia says that it is like the coastal where everybody lives is absolutely gorgeous, and also that the people there are the friendliest, most inviting, like cool, especially as an American to go to Australia.
They love Americans.
Well, they say it feels the most like Australia of anywhere else in the world or whatever. So, and New Zealand is supposed to be the same. New Zealand's supposed to be fantastic.
Yeah, because we both have clean coal, man. It's in the air.
Yep. And everything's a question.
What?
How'd that accent split like that? You would know that, right?
It was prisoners, so they were generally uneducated when they were sent to Australia, so they had
that's what it is.
A weird sort of accent. Yeah.
And they were used to asking questions, right? Because they were like in prison.
It's sort of American English. American English is like a
bastardized version of the King's English, basically.
Yeah, and it's
turned it into our own thing.
Well, it's very like redneck English.
It sounds a lot different though than, or does it? And I just don't notice
because the original colonists were fucking hillbillies of the UK essentially.
Right.
I don't know that I would agree with that.
The Puritans?
Rebel rousers, probably.
We came here to avoid religious persecution. It's like it was a very niche group, and it was not like
it's not like it wasn't like just them though, because a lot of people also came for money.
I mean that's New England, but that's not the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Although the Puritan mindset has definitely sunk in through the rest of the U.S., like looking at things as moral failings versus our resistance towards harm reduction and our view of any kind of non-normal behavior as being sin or immoral has like permeated the whole way through, which is unfortunate.
Also, Skittles, I think you got it backwards. American English is how do you pronounce it?
Aristocracy?
Yeah, it's
that's ironic.
Well, now it's a prestige language.
Yeah, well, it's the old like aristocracy.
Okay. Yeah, no. I did have it backwards because modern day slang is closer to like England colonial English.
Right.
Yeah.
Than like modern day European English.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's closer to how the King of Britain used to speak.
Yeah, the King's English.
But like if I have somebody give me advice in an English accent and a British accent, like I'm going to listen to the British person just because of the accent. Yeah. Like I'm going to automatically give like the British accent more credence.
Dude, I want to be one of those guys that's just like picked for one of those fucking Chinese or Indian or like Arabic jobs where you just be the white guy that like is the face of the company and you get paid a shit ton.
Yeah, China, that's like a huge thing.
Just to be the white guy, like
yeah, it's big.
Yes, please.
How can you get that done?
I don't know. I don't know where to apply for these jobs.
Hey, that's like Vegas. Vegas had jobs like that. Like one of the jobs that I was trying to get, the only thing you needed to do is you just have to learn how to golf. Your job isn't golfing, but you have to learn how to golf. That's one of the requirements. Because you're a host.
Yeah.
So you literally has nothing to do with casino or anything. They just want you to be able to schmooze. It's a good job.
I'm looking at the chat again. Interesting fact: the Amish are only in the United States. There's no Amish anywhere else in the world.
Really? What is that? Huh. What is it then?
EVC 88 said, "Don't offend the Amish." It's just an interesting thing. They all left Germany. They were all Anabaptists under religious persecution. Didn't want to join the army. Left to come to the U.S. and none stayed over there. They all came here.
They can use electricity to dent.
It depends.
Well, they're allowed to utilize, like industrial equipment, electricity, all that shit, as long as they don't own.
But it also depends on because there's not like a unifying authority over top. Like there's not like it's not like there's a Pope of the Amish.
Right.
breaks everything down. So
how would they communicate?
When people have like when they have a disagreement about like when the telephone came out or like automobiles or whatever, if they feel differently, they'll split off and start their own church in their own community.
So then they get shunned.
So there's like old order Amish in Ohio that drive cars, and there's old order Amish that have like a telephone for like the community. So if they have to call for an ambulance or so, you know what I mean, like an emergency or whatever. So it's depends on the community what their regulations are. And then you also have the Mennonites, which is kind of like Amish light to an extent, and they own like personal vehicles and stuff.
Yeah,
I dated a girl for a while who was on
Rumspringa.
No, a friend's house that we used to party and go shooting at. Like he owned a shit ton of land. Well, he thought he owned a shit ton of land, and then like an Amish family or an Amish country bought up a shit ton of the land because it had all sorts of trees on it, and like they fucking just cleared that land in maybe 30-45 days. It was like 45 acres that they completely cleared and trucked out of there. And it was like, how do you do that if you can't use electricity? And that's when I found out, like, they're allowed to rent trucks. They're allowed to rent, like, industrial logging equipment.
And they can borrow it.
But they can't own it. Like, they're allowed to utilize it, but they're not allowed to own it.
Or use it on certain days.
Or rely on it, I guess.
I used to work for a tree service company. We trimmed the trees around the high voltage power lines in the mid-Atlantic region, and we used to go to, because like chainsaws are like still makes the best chainsaws. That's all there is to it. But they're all like independent dealerships, you know, like you can buy a still at like a big box store or whatever, but like to get the real deal and to get any kind of service and stuff, you go to like these independent steel dealers. And the best one that I ever went to used all Mennonites as like his repair guys. So these dudes would, and I used to see them in the morning because we'd be there early, you know, and I have to go pick saws up or drop shit off or whatever. And the Mennonite dudes would come up on bicycles. They would ride their bicycles in, and they'd be like in the back of the shop, like barefoot with their big straw hat, like fixing chainsaws. And like, dude knew everything about chainsaws that I didn't. And like that, you know, that's what I did for a living. But this dude knew everything about chainsaws. He was just like, you know, mid-20s Mennonite dude that rode a bicycle to and from work, but like all day he used power tools and sat in a workshop with, you know, fluorescent lights and stuff. And they apparently, under the rules of their community, like that was perfectly fine.
Think about how much you would know, how much more shit you would know if you didn't have like. I feel like you would know more if you didn't have the computer.
Glued to the internet, yeah.
It's like Seth Green in that shitty movie. Was it like Road Trip? No, it was a Road Trip. It was the other one.
Without a paddle.
No, not Without a Paddle. He actually played like an Amish mechanic.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that popularized Rumspringa.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Road Trip.
Yoder Toters. Sorry, I'm still thinking.
A girl on Rumspringa in Vegas.
Or it was beer pong.
Yeah. To touch back on accents, I really want to bring back that 1930s transatlantic accent from
yeah.
I love that accent.
I was just watching there's a Ken Burns documentary on the Roosevelts, on Theodore and Franklin Roosevelt.
Sex Drive.
And once it gets to the Franklin Roosevelt era, it's all just that transatlantic accent, like everybody that's all
yeah. Something distinctly charming about it.
Yeah.
It was Sex Drive.
Yeah, that's it. It's like
the weird bowling movie.
There was a podcast I used to really enjoy called The Thrilling Adventure Hour, and it was a modern take on like the old style like radio dramas, like 1940s radio dramas. They had one that was I forget what the name of the bit was, but it was like two characters that were always involved with like you know, ghosts and vampires and like all that kind of stuff. Frank and Sadie Doyle, and Paget Brewster, the actress, was Sadie Doyle's voice, and she has that transatlantic. She does like a fantastic like transatlantic accent. They started, and it went for like a few years, and like by like the third or fourth year, they started writing bits where she would just like read lists of things because it was just hilarious to hear her like do that accent. So if anybody enjoys the classic old time radio shows, I highly recommend go and find the old Thrilling Adventure Hour podcast and go back and listen to all of them.
Bringing back fireside talks.
Yeah, I like that, man. I listened to a bunch of like Dragnet and Gunsmoke and Johnny Dollar and all, you know, just they're all free. They're podcasts. They're all like 30 minutes long and they're entertaining.
Yeah,
it's nice when you're driving because sometimes I get tired of audiobooks and sometimes I get tired of music. So that's a good switch up.
You know what I think is wrong with this generation? Now that I'm looking at like a list of the road trip movies, there's no like great raunchy comedy style for this generation.
Yeah, that's true. There's no real like
the generation before us. They had fucking Animal House and Animal House style movies. You know.
Are you saying that? Are you saying nothing's taboo anymore?
No, nothing's.
No, it's just I don't know. I guess they sort of. The comedians nowadays in movies aren't actual comedians. They're just actors that can do funny.
I don't know, man. I think like I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I think like 20 years from now, people are gonna look back and think like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, shit, that was a great comedy.
Well, yeah, and maybe Seth
super unappreciated comedy.
Maybe what the fuck's his name? When he laughs, he sounds like an elephant with fucking leukemia.
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen's comedy might be considered like this generation's, you know, road trip movies. But I don't know, man.
I know what you're saying.
Knocked Up was great because it had that sense of like realness to it.
It's
Knocked Up had a heart to it. It wasn't just.
Yeah,
I don't know. It had some heart to it. Has anybody seen The Room? Has anybody seen the James Franco The Room from?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we just watched that the other night. That's Jeff Green is amazing in that.
Check out. Okay, if you actually link that. Check out. Okay, do you know Samurai Cop, the really bad movie from like '91?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, watch. It's on Amazon Prime. Revenge of the Samurai Cop. But it's also Samurai Cop 2. Apparently, it was kickstarted and then made like a couple of years ago. But Katana Clan comes back. And there's also a Shinjuku clan. But one of them dies, and then Tommy Wiseau is now the main bad guy of the fucking movie.
Okay.
And
good for him.
It's as bad as you think.
I love the scene at the end where they have after like the credits break for the James Franco Room, where it's Tommy Wiseau as Tommy Wiseau and James DeFranco as Tommy Wiseau talking to each other. Like that.
Also, dude, I love the money mystery behind Tommy Wiseau.
Who the fuck is Tommy Wiseau except for the one movie he did?
Nobody knows.
No one.
Nobody knows where he's from. Nobody knows how old he is. Nobody knows how he made his money.
How the fuck did how did this movie get so big with fucking nobody? Like where?
It's a cult movie because it's so bad.
Yes, dude, but how? How did it get produced? No one knows, dude.
For all we know, he could be a deserter for the Israeli army. Yeah, literally no one knows.
No, he's from New Orleans.
Yeah,
I'm from New Orleans.
No,
I mean, where are you really from?
For a long time was like he imported Korean leather jackets and just sold them, and that's how he made all of his money.
Like, I don't know how accurate it is, but like in the movie, he says he paid $5 million to make The Room. You know?
No, yeah, it was like 5 or 6.
And I mean, when you see when you read the
book
about it that's based off of, like, he really they went and he bought all the camera equipment. He paid all to be like for real, you know what I mean? Like, it's just insane.
Like, how do I stumble ass backwards into fame like that?
You're telling me?
No one will hire you for a movie, so you make your own.
Yep.
That's a good point.
And then you make one of the worst movies ever.
Yo, we'll make a StopGap the movie.
I love that the dude was he would make an excellent villain. He's like, no, I don't want to be villain.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to.
I'm hero.
Dude, we already have a road trip movie cast right here.
Are we doing the Ice Poseidon RV
The problem is we have to actually try to make a good movie, and it has to be really bad.
We've got our Tom Green character in Graham.
Fuck yourself.
We've got our experienced old guy with Pretty Matthew.
He's getting tired of that.
I'll take it.
And then we've got like just the crazy young dudes, where Jerry's the emotional one that's got the girlfriend back home, you know, and Shindo's like the emotional one that doesn't have lighting in his room, and then there's the wild card.
Yeah, see, look, I knew.
And then Alicia gets picked up from our hometown, and we're like, let's go. And then Shindo falls in love with Alicia while they're going, and see,
Can we not talk about your own
and hijinks ensue.
Yeah, hijinks ensue.
What the fuck was that?
The car has to get totaled in some
the
comical
wild
way.
card.
The wild card.
Because
Can we go over your own impression of yourself? You said, I'm Tom Green. He's the old experienced guy. These two are the emotional ones, and I'm the wild card. And you almost gave your finger in a trigger motion with the way you fucking shook your head.
I like to think of Graham as the wild card.
well, no, Graham's the Tom Green guy where he's just fucking weird and he like none of the shit he says makes sense.
That's what's funny, dude.
Yeah, but Graham has penchants of wisdom. Tom Green doesn't.
Pensions of wisdom. The whole fucking thing is wisdom.
You guys would be competing to be the wild card the entire time.
No, because the wild card.
No, I'd be like the scrawny dude from fucking.
But let's talk about this. Let's explore this. Your first instinct was to go the wild card and give yourself this like
wild.
It's almost like
yeah.
Burt Reynolds fucking thing going.
Zoop.
Yeah, exactly. Like he pointed at it and shook his head.
Yeah, I would be the driving force of most of the hijinks.
All that's missing is the fucking cardigan, dude.
Isn't it fun? Yeah, tied around the neck.
Some stupid shit that I do or say at a rest stop leads to ensuing hijinks. A fucking semi-truck driver trying to kill us.
You're the one that makes the movie move on.
Yeah. He's the
and then Graham saves us by shitting in his hand and throwing it at the semi-truck that's trying to ram us off the road and it smears on the side.
All we need is like a 60 or 70-year-old old racist guy.
Wayne, we'll just pick up Wayne. he's Asian, so no one can tell his real age. We just draw some lines on his face. Yeah. Boom, he's 70.
Yeah, you're either like 23 or you're Yoda. Yeah. No one knows what's an Asian. You can never tell. They don't die. Do you know that? Are you aware that Asians don't die? Have you known one?
They just shrink until they're the size of the toddler, and then they step out of their wrinkled skin and start life anew.
Yeah, there's 3 stages, I feel. There's the one, the middle stage, where they got that Hawaiian haircut with the Raider starter jacket on, the long-haired Asian.
There's newborn, attractive, and then the crypt keeper.
Yeah.
I vote Skittles for most likely to pull pranks that aren't funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll be that guy. Yeah. I'll be the guy that just does like. I'll be the asshole on the fucking.
Is that not dead on?
Doyle rules. Doyle rules.
He's like, watch these guys. I'm gonna throw water on him to wake him up.
Yeah, Colt's definitely the I need to turn this into a bit every opportunity.
Smoking vaping.
Smoking vaping.
That's a great fucking bit. Fuck you guys.
I like it. I'd like to see something done with it.
I'm working on it. I got to get Donnie Donato on board.
I feel like he just can't make his mind up on things. I don't know why. Smoking vaping. Got this overwhelming feeling.
No, Jen, I would be the one putting eye drops in other people's coffee and making them shit. Yeah,
no, but then you would accidentally fuck it up and get it in your own coffee.
I'd fuck it up, put it in my own coffee, have the shits. Yeah.
Yep.
Or I'd drug the rest of the people, except I'd fuck it up.
Fuck them. Oh. I didn't know what you meant. Yeah.
Get us all arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rick is definitely most likely to not buy into Graham's poker tournament.
No, I think you're Rick. He buys a lot of my shit. He definitely buys into
it. Are you saying you're full of shit?
No, I'm just saying. I like how we all got these different views of ourselves.
Fine. Graham's the weird homeless dude that we pick up along the way.
Oh, get
Graham,
the fuck
Is
out
that
of
Graham's the
here.
better?
weird homeless dude that we throw his stuff in the lake.
Graham's
Yeah.
definitely the content king.
Graham's,
I'm the ringleader.
weird,
You motherfuckers don't even see it.
Graham's the weird homeless dude that we pick up and we get drunk with, and then we pay him to rip out his tooth.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny there, Shindo? You see that? Isn't that funny?
Hilarious.
You get it, right?
You're the content king because you're just a fountain of content. Your entire life is content.
Yeah, but don't you see I've made you all content? Don't you get that?
Your life has made content. It's the unfortunate series of events that led you to be here every week that makes us content.
It's the unfortunate series of events that led us all to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do? Like any of you are winners. I mean, you got a business.
Exactly.
Come on. Oh yeah. All right, you're right. I'm the nerd. You're right. I got it.
You're not the nerd. You're the weird homeless dude that does
I'm not,
crazy
though.
shit for money.
I wish.
If our viewers are able to collectively donate $150, will you pull out your tooth?
Each?
No.
Total cumulative.
Fuck no.
$150?
No way.
You wouldn't pull out a tooth that's on its way out already for $150.
No, I'm gonna pull it out anyway, but I'm not doing it on air. Fuck that.
You fucking pussy.
No, it's come on.
Dude, you can't call someone a pussy over something like that. That's a lot of pain.
Not doing it on air. He said he's gonna pull it out anyways. He said,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
wait till
doing
it
it on
loosens
air.
up a little.
But you gotta let a man keep his dignity.
Dude, fucking
Yeah.
chug some. Dude,
Bro.
first of all, that'd be the greatest content we've had.
Yeah,
Do you know how many viewers that would
This
draw?
is my world, bro. What are you
Dude,
talking about? I'm not
first of all, we could post that to fucking to live.
Yeah, exactly.
We could post that to live stream fails and get fucking
I don't need
50,000
people
views
slowing
easy.
it down, seeing the paint. You know what I mean? Go fuck yourself.
Yes.
Now, look away. As it's coming out, and I make that face. No,
I'm just saying, you pull a tooth out, tears are coming, unbidden.
Oh yeah.
Unbidden.
We're not. And don't. I gotta say, like, don't do that. Like, you need to actually go to a dentist so that way they can fill the void with something.
He's got hot glue.
Hey, that void is never being filled. I mean, if a dentist can fill the
It's
void,
all right. I already told him not to suck dick for a week, or he's gonna get a dry socket and lock.
and that's why it's still in there. Ain't going nowhere.
All right.
Yeah, no,
so
I
we have
know.
23
What, though,
viewers. All it would take is every one of them donating fucking $8.
For how much? $150?
Yep, $150.
Nah. If they each donate $150, I'll do it in my underwear.
I do have to say,
If they
though, that
each
this is
donated $150, I'd suck dick on air.
I don't know. I'd go that far. I'd rip my own tooth out and in my underwear.
That's more than $3,000. I'd suck dick for
You would
$3,000.
suck dick for $3,000. Okay.
Fuck.
Also,
I know I'm not
tooth
gay.
infections are
I ain't
scary.
fucking worried about it.
At least we found Skittles' price now, though.
I know.
fucking-
I got like 28.
Fuck.
I mean,
Throw me a 40. I'll suck that dick.
You're delusional if you don't think everyone has a price.
Everyone does. And
Oh,
it's
everyone
also
does.
always a lot lower than what
Yeah.
they say it is.
it's way lower.
I
Than,
could
than
be
what-
like, no, dude, not for under 50,000.
It's not
No.
$3,000
No,
though.
if a dude walked up to me and said, "Here's $3,000. I will
You would
hand it to
not.
you right now if you follow me and suck my dick," and I'd
I
be like,
guarantee you would not.
"You clean, dude?"
You think he's clean if he's offering you $3,000 to suck his dick?
I don't know. Maybe that's how he gets off.
You're not doing it. I bet you $8,000 you wouldn't do it for $3,000.
That's $4,000 I'm making right there. I've already increased my profits 33%.
Yeah, but you got to not do it.
No, you're
Wait.
betting me $1,000 that
Oh,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
no.
do it. I would get it if I did it.
No,
Math is hard.
I said 8.
Graham, what the fuck is going on in your brain?
I said 8. No, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. But,
Oh, you said 8,000?
Yeah.
So
Oh shit! Then I'm
5,000.
I'm more than tripling my fucking profits. Yes, please.
I don't know, man.
11,000 to suck.
But you see what I did there?
11,000 to suck one dick, easy,
Wow.
I'd
Easy
cradle
money.
the balls for that too.
Wow.
easy money.
It's just not that much money, though. At the end of the day, you're like you get, like, a couple
11,000.
nights-
11,000 is a
Not even a
decent
Civic.
chunk of money.
No,
Not even a Civic.
That's
It's a used Civic, which
Okay,
is
so you're driving around
which
in
is
your
the best
used Civic.
I don't fucking care
with
how
dick
many
on your
Civics
breath.
it is. $11,000 is enough for me to just fucking put in my bank account and let sit.
But to let that marinate in your brain your whole life that you suck dick for $11,000.
I know.
Isn't even
I know.
$11,000
I
you're
know I'm
losing
not
for?
gay.
How do you know? You're eager as fuck to suck a dick for $11,000.
Yeah, because I want $11,000.
It's not that much money, dude. It's just not. It goes away way quicker than the memory.
Yeah, when you do fucking drugs, bro.
No, anyone. I do drugs and I still want to suck dick for $11,000.
I'm just saying $11,000 lasts a long time when you have a fucking full-time job. That's the difference between you and me.
Yeah, and what if you find out you like it? Then it's just the bonus, right?
Yeah, fucking A. Then I learned something about myself, and I'm better off for it.
That's what it is.
Boom.
You guys are actually
there is no negative to this situation. Sucking dick for $11,000.
Yeah, except for the dick sucking part. Like, what are you talking about?
Or your views on prostitution. Do you want to do that?
It's all about perspective. Women suck dick for free all the time.
Yeah, they also have babies and bleed out of their pussies. They're different fucking beings.
Other dudes suck dick for free all the time. I'm getting paid $11,000 to do it. Yes,
he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
entrepreneur.
That's called a goddamn business opportunity. When I'm done, I wipe my mouth and I say, "So, do you guys have like a forum you frequent or something?" Or
you looking over the head.
Can I know where?
What was that Reddit thread about the glory hole? And it was like you sucking for like months after that. You guys remember that one?
No.
Oh, it was fantastic. I'll find it and link it.
So the comedy's not what's wrong with this generation. This is what's wrong with this generation.
Yeah, Graham.
It has nothing to do with fucking.
Jimmy Cox says it right. Just because you do it for free, don't look down on me for doing it for money.
A guy with the last name Cox is saying that to me.
Yeah, he's got a great last name.
Cox. This guy loves Cox. You should just tell me. This guy Jimmy fucking Cox.
Eyes Evil saying that he'd only do it for 11 million. Dude,
I do it for 1,100,000.
I don't know who the fuck you're fooling. Eyes Evil.
He does it anyway. He gets in both.
If a dude walks up to you, a fucking briefcase full of cash, fucking 25 grand in there.
I was gonna say you have to have a car. A briefcase of cash is fucking nothing.
20 grand in there. A briefcase of cash says you suck my dick for 15 minutes.
20 grand for 15 minutes. You have very little concept of what real money is. I mean, and I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying that 20 grand does not last that long, dude.
If you have a full-time job, 20 grand lasts a long fucking time. I take that 20 grand, I put that into a fucking investment fund.
Uh-huh.
That's 20 grand right now. That means
a reasonable return.
That means that I'm on set. For when I was 18, if I had put $8,000 into an investment fund,
you're gonna open an IRA account.
Yeah, you're gonna get a mutual fund
and retire off of sucking dick.
Yeah,
exactly.
If I did that, I'd party at least, for fuck's sake. You're gonna go get a mutual fund? You fucking nerd.
Absolutely. Because by the time I'm 45, I'd be a fucking millionaire.
Yeah, and they're gonna go, how'd you get your millions? Well, when I was fucking 27, I sucked dick for $3 grand. $3 grand was different back then.
And I'd put my fucking hands on my hips and puff my chest out and be like, "Yep, I sucked dick for 20 grand and I made smart investments."
I have a feeling by then you're probably already gonna be out of the closet though, with a nice furry fucking jacket on, a fur coat, and a whole bunch of other weird shit going on.
Then so be it. If I was gay and I came out of the closet, then I'd be happier.
That's your exit party. That's what it is.
Boom.
20 grand for coming out of the.
There's no negative.
Now we got it.
There is, but no, there really isn't.
Yeah, it's like what, 5 years of medical insurance?
Easy.
Well, is that going to help you with the AIDS?
You wouldn't get AIDS from sucking dick.
How do you know?
Because it's a blood-borne disease, you dumb motherfucker.
What if he had a scrape on his dick?
Then you'd have to have a scrape in your mouth too.
Yeah.
Well, chances are, if you're sucking dick, you do. For 11 grand.
Not if a dude comes up to me and is like, "Suck my dick."
How come your imaginary guy that comes up to you can't have a cut in his mouth? But I think he does.
Is he sucking my dick? What's going on? Like, no.
Either way, you all have cuts in your mouth and dick.
No, like, what the fuck are you eating on a daily basis?
I love how long this
How come your guy can have it?
How many dicks per minute have we said?
1,100.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Well, it's like If I want them to,
yeah,
they can.
And Jen Jarvis is right. 20 minutes is a long time to suck a dick.
Long time.
If you're good, you're done in 5 minutes, and I can fucking guarantee you, I can suck. I would be able to suck a dick.
You just said that as if it wasn't a hypothetical.
Yeah, because I know what the fuck works for me.
You've been in the military. Did you suck dick before?
I know what the fuck works for me, right?
You suck dick, haven't you?
No, Graham, that's the Navy, not the Air Force.
That's absolutely the Navy. The Air Force doesn't have the balls to suck each other's dicks.
But have you?
No.
I think you have, maybe.
No.
Dude, they're a bunch of engineers. They don't even look each other in the eyes when they talk.
Well,
yeah,
they can't.
we walk down the hallway staring at the fucking floor with our hand on the wall.
Because you guys are sucking each other's dicks, and you don't want to make eye contact.
Now you're just grasping at straws.
I am, because
I guarantee you'd be able to suck a dick in 5 minutes and make it come. Easy.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Doesn't mean you sucked dick before. It just
I don't
means
know. It's truth right now. I don't think so.
Just means
I thought about that earlier.
you know what someone would like with sucking dick.
You guys are talking about sucking dick, and Pretty Matthew's playing with his pussy.
I don't know what's wrong with y'all.
We have an edge up.
I can't believe you're arguing this.
We have an edge up when it comes to the sucking dick game, and
all
that's
right,
because we know what it feels like to get our dick sucked.
All right, simple question. What's your price, Cole?
My price?
$3,000.
$3,000's low.
Okay.
That was lowballing it. Probably 10 grand.
We're talking minimum. All right, Jerry. What's your price?
Depends where I'm living.
Are we paying taxes?
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends where I'm living.
Depends how you're living.
Yeah, do we have to declare this
right.
as supplemental income?
If I'm living here, 25. If I'm living in California, it's 150.
That's a good point.
Yeah, Graham, what's your price?
Are we paying capital gains? It's
no tax.
Probably 100 grand.
500 grand. Okay.
100 grand.
Oh, 100 grand. Okay.
Yeah, I'm no bougie.
You're not bougie.
No, I'm
pretty Matthew.
What's your price?
Hold on, let's get two answers from you. 20 years ago and now.
No, it needs to be like a life-changing amount of money. So like 100K.
Yeah.
And to me, 10 grand would be life-changing because, like I said, I'd put it into a retirement account.
But it would be life-changing. That's what I'm saying. Like 10 grand is not life-changing.
Absolutely would be. If you
put it in young enough, yeah.
If you put it,
or you can get the compound interest going. I can't get that anymore. So
yeah, I'm 25. If I put 10 grand into a fucking 10 grand in Pretty Matthew's retirement account right now compared to 10 grand in mine. Like I'm bringing returns probably 10, 15, 20 times what you would be putting in.
Yeah. So we're renaming this episode, right, to StopGap Goes Gay for Pay.
That's this episode.
StopGap Goes Gay for Pay. We didn't cover gentrification. It's true. Wayne never came on. But we can cover it now. That's the segue. That's the segue we needed.
Double entendre.
Boom.
I thought we were doing that other thing.
What? What?
Didn't people fill out do the things in the?
We haven't got to the.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We haven't gotten to 345.
Yeah, we got done with gentrification. Now we're on gentrification.
Yeah, everybody remember. Everybody tell a friend. Subscribe up. We got a giveaway for a used but not abused squee atomizer with all accessories.
And I've eaten ass. I can suck a dick. Like that's nothing. That's nothing compared to eating ass.
That's like a Fleece Johnson quote right there.
Yeah, it's kind of different though.
Y'all know Fleece Johnson, right?
If you've eaten ass, sucking dick is a step below that.
It's like a young thug quote, dude.
Is it a man ass or?
No, it's Fleece Johnson was on Lockup Raw, I think.
It's a Kevin Jones, Kevin James, Kevin Jones, Kevin.
Anybody that doesn't know who Fleece Johnson is, go on YouTube and find him. Google Fleece Johnson. It's amazing. We doing this the easy way or the hard way?
Kevin Gates. That's a Kevin Gates quote.
Yeah, Kevin Gates started the whole eating ass thing in popular culture.
That motherfucker made it acceptable to eat ass, right? There were people eating ass. I'd eaten ass before he came out about it, but he said, I'll lick the toes, I'll suck on the toes, I'll eat the booty, and I went, he knows what's up. He knows how to please a woman.
He knows.
right?
I'm just glad he's out of. I'm glad he's finally out of the penitentiary. He dropped some new music the other week.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Kevin Gates is underappreciated as a rapper, or just a musical artist. He makes some good shit.
His beats are fucking fire.
Mm-hmm. He came out hungry, you know. That was one of the things, and he didn't really ever feel like he lost it with his continuing projects.
Well, yeah, because you don't get sustenance from eating ass.
Right. Gotta go make that paper.
All right, gentrification. Thoughts, ideas. Is it a double-edged sword, or is it just negative?
Are we talking slow progressing gentrification or fast gentrification?
Because it was brought up about Oakland, I'd say fast gentrification.
Well, the problem, sorry, but the thing that I'm seeing more is there isn't that slow gentrification that you used to. It doesn't happen over a decade to turn a neighborhood around. It happens in a very quick amount of time now.
Yeah,
because of Oakland, because people can't afford, like, people are making a ton of money working jobs in San Francisco or Palo Alto or whatever, but they can't afford to live there. So they look at the next closest place they can afford. And it's a whole lot of people with a whole lot of income, like at one time, like jumping right into it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to Harlem, especially after Columbia.
Mm-hmm. It's happening in Philadelphia. It happens in neighborhoods in Baltimore. Like Baltimore is still like
Brooklyn.
Baltimore is still a really fucked up city, but there have been a bunch of neighborhoods that have turned around just in the period of time since I was in the area. So over like 8 years, I can think of at least 3 neighborhoods that are like super, you know, they're the nice neighborhoods, and the people that used to live there can't afford to live there anymore, you know, that quickly.
Is there any cities you think that it could never happen to? You know what I mean? Like
Montgomery, Alabama.
See, I would say
Birmingham.
Oakland's one of those cities for me that I would say that I could never see it happening. Like
its reputation in the 90s for fucking sure. Well, then again, people thought New York would never be able to clean up in the 80s.
Yeah, when you see like what like Times Square looked like in the 80s to what it is now. But see, that happened over a, you know, New York kind of happened over it. Well, when New York went from being like crime capital type of deal to, you know, what it is now, the first part of that happened over a longer period of time. But now, like when you just said Brooklyn, like the neighborhoods in Brooklyn, you know, Park Slope went from being like an affordable neighborhood to being like completely out of fucking hand on pricing within like a 6-year period. And then it's just extended from there. And yeah, Harlem, another one.
Maybe New York led the way.
Harlem has moved. Harlem is like over 200th Street now.
Yeah.
Maybe New York made people believe it could happen.
Yeah.
It's like what you said, like Times Square, like no way you would think that would clean up.
It's like, hey, I want to be in Manhattan. It's the nicest place, but pricing, I've been outpriced. So I moved to the closest place that's lower in price. And then all those people do that, and eventually it gets further and further and further.
Like New York in the 80s, there were vigilante groups of people that would protect people on the subways.
Yeah, Guardian Angels.
Yeah.
Curtis Lewa.
Yeah, I mean, but there are people that love New York in the 80s because it's like there used to be mom and pop corner shops, mom and pop restaurants. It's no longer that same Manhattan. Those mom and pop shops have been fucking outpriced out of Manhattan, and now it's pretty much everything is like an official chain shop.
There's still parts of New York that are still, they haven't, but you can even see it starting to happen, like in Queens now. Like Queens is having areas that are getting turned around, that people want to raise families in.
Even Chinatown, which historically has been a very cheap place to live and a very desirable place to live at the same time because it's right next to fucking Soho.
Yeah.
So it's super like just in a great spot. It's just had cheap rent, and that completely changed in the 90s. That's gone now. Chinatown's fucking expensive. So you pretty much have to live Roosevelt Island, Brooklyn, Staten Island. Like you can't live in Manhattan anymore on a normal budget.
Right. I mean, you can't really live in New York, in lots of parts of New York on a regular budget. I mean, my sisters lived there for the last 18, 19 years now, and she's had to move neighborhoods, and she makes decent money, but she's had to move neighborhoods multiple times just because she started getting priced out of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All those prices are they basically changed. That's what happened to me. I lived in Soho because my roommate's mother designed the apartment complex for the dudes, so we got like a really great deal, and then he changed the price on us and fucked us.
I was gonna say, even in Brooklyn, last time I was there, like one of my buddies was like $1,200 for a bedroom.
Yeah, well, a lot of those places were rent controlled.
No, I know, but still, that's like crazy to me.
And that's what happened, right? The rent control, like they got like a lot of people that had a rent control, they got old and died, and then they were able to up the up the rent. I mean, that's what happened in a lot of those places.
It's not just that, but the people want to live in the cities now. Like, I mean, people have always wanted to live in the cities, but there's a lot more of younger people that have a lot of, disposable income and stuff and want to live like in the city. So they find an area. And then once you get, once again, it's white people saving the world, but you get some white people moving to an area, and then more white people move to the area. And then that starts to change the demographics, and it starts to bring in, more and families, and it brings in businesses that those people want. You know what I mean? That's why all of a sudden there's a Starbucks and there's a Whole Foods, because the businesses that people want to shop at. So, and then you just change the entire, you change the entire feel of, the area, the neighborhood, or the city, or whatever. DC's going through it right now. Like, DC has always been, I shouldn't say always, but DC's been a majority Black city for a long time, and just in the past couple of years, it's becoming minority. It's becoming Black minority in DC, because more and more young white people want to come live inside of DC, like within the city limits, where before they lived in Northern Virginia or Montgomery County, like the outskirts, but still close to DC. Now they live in the city.
Yeah, it's an extremely desirable place to live because they have excellent public transportation.
Where? New York?
In DC now.
I mean, it's better than it used to be, but it's not the metro doesn't run.
Nothing's like New York. Metro.
The DC metro doesn't run 24 hours a day type of deal. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the bus system isn't. I mean, you could get around in DC without owning a car, but it wouldn't be as easy as it would in New York, for sure.
In New York, in the Bay Area. In New York, it's easier to get around without a car.
Right. But I mean, for DC, because you can't do everything in this. I don't feel like in DC you can do everything that you could like in other cities. Like, I feel like it would be easier to live in Philadelphia without a vehicle than to live in DC without a vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Because I still feel like with DC you end up having to go out of the city a lot to do things.
I think the thing about gentrification is we're talking about fast gentrification, which is generally forced, right?
Yeah.
But gentrification occurs naturally over time anyway, because that's just what happens.
Right.
High rent areas expand over time, and low rent areas get pushed out and pushed back and pushed back.
Well, there's a reason probably everywhere that it happens. You know what I mean? Like in the Bay Area, it's the perfect storm for that. There's perfect storm in New York. There's probably reasons why it happens everywhere. It's different, maybe.
Well, I mean, it's also cyclic too, because you had the not to. I mean, fuck it. I guess we'll get into the racial stuff, but you had the white flight in the '60s. Once the civil rights amendments passed and like voting rights and everything. Yeah, because I mean, there were a lot of, majority of places had essential red lines to where anybody of color can't live in this neighborhood. Like, we're not going to sell anybody a house here. We're not going to rent to people or whatever. Once all that stuff got thrown out, you had the white flight, and then
like Compton used to be all white.
Right. Baltimore used to be like a big chunk of Baltimore was white. And it's because like when I worked for Lewis, part of my territory was in the city. So I would go in, and there's one neighborhood called Glens Falls, and that used to be like the super ritzy, like that's where the rich people lived. These are giant houses. We're talking like 6 bedrooms with a full wraparound porch. They got slate roofs. They got a slate roof on the garage. They got big yards, and it's in the city. Like it's not that far from downtown, but it's like, it was this enclave of like these ridiculous houses. And then in the 60s, like everybody bailed out, and they've just been sitting there like rotting away like slowly for the past 30 years or whatever. And so neighborhoods like that are the ones that you see like starting to come back around again. But that happened with a ton of cities at that era, in that era. It happened to Boston, it happened to Baltimore, it happened to Philadelphia, it happened to Pittsburgh, it happened to Detroit,
everywhere.
Yeah, all of them.
So
I mean, like for Detroit, there was huge race riots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like that was like opposite gentrification, and now it's like coming back around the other way. So it's, you know, but that was like an immediate, like when people left the city, it was a large amount of people in a short period of time. But then as they started to bring the neighborhoods or the cities back around, it used to be slower. But like I said, in the past, I don't know, since say about like 2000 or so, it seems that it's just a more and more sped up pace that it happens at, to where it's not like a natural, to where somebody moves in and then somebody else moves in and then they, you know, more people move and businesses come back or whatever. Now it's like it's the developers, the real estate agents, the business moguls. They're the ones that are like kind of,
because people dip their feet in, they dip their toes in, and now people are just diving in.
Right, because they jump in because they're like, oh well, we can make a bunch of mixed use housing and we can put up a you know, this area for like retail businesses in this neighborhood because everything's super cheap. So they can influence like which areas the gentrification happens in to an extent. It's kind of what I see.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't see it. I'm in Vegas, and Vegas is growing so fast, or has grown so fast, that it's like it's wide open though. You know what I mean? It's literally like you need A, B, C, D, E, F, and G to make a neighborhood, and then they start over and they just do neighborhood. So it's not really any kind of.
It's almost like prefab the way that because Orlando kind of built the same way.
Exactly. Yeah, so Orlando is very similar.
It's like Vegas, like everything outside of the strip of Vegas, and then everything outside of Lake Buena Vista in Orlando is like the definition of urban sprawl or suburban sprawl. You know what I mean? Like the strip malls, the extra roads, the neighborhoods getting they just like keep. I mean, Orlando is terrible to drive around in.
Vegas, so fucking weird. You'll be on the street and not move, not go anywhere, and it's all of a sudden another street, and then it'll pick up. It'll be the street it was before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're on the same street. It's weird. They built the city and then thought about the roads and shit.
And I mean, I can't fault people that. I mean, I'm doing it to an extent. Like the neighborhood that we moved into in Philadelphia is kind of like, it was never like super bad or anything, but it's you can tell that there is like the gentrification coming in. You can see the businesses that are on like the Main Street portion that we have here, and you can see as the original, the older owners that were born and raised here, as they die off or retire and go into a assisted living or just move away or whatever. Every time the property turns over, there's the renovation crew in there, and they're doing like the whole modern update to it, and turning it into the kind of place that people want now, like a modern place that people want now. And the price goes up by half. So even if the people that grew up here like wanted to buy another property, like they're not going to be able to. They're going to be priced out of it for them to be able to buy a different place here. So, but I mean, we did it because we wanted to live in the city. I wanted to raise my kid in a city. I wanted to have the convenience of city life. I really don't enjoy living in the suburbs to where everything is a half-hour drive, because of traffic and all the side roads and everything. So,
see, I've only like experienced the opposite of gentrification. Well, I guess the place I'm living is pretty gentrified, but it's not like racially gentrified. Whereas the hometown I came from, it's like reverse racially gentrified, where like black families are moving out of Cleveland, but there's still that inner city mentality, that like that rough life mentality when they came to my hometown. So it sounds bad, but my town got progressively darker as I went through high school.
Everywhere did though. Listen to NW Screaming Compton, but you moved to Riverside. I mean, that's like exactly what they're talking about.
Like in third grade, my best friend was the one black dude in the school. And then by the time I graduated, it was like maybe 10% of my graduating class was black dudes or black people. So it's like it's sort of gotten different, but it's also, I don't want to say worse because that just sounds racist, but like the amount of teen pregnancies went up. The amount of violent crimes in my hometown went up, and it's mostly because like people think the inner city mentality is caused by being in the inner city, but it's more of like, it's a survival mentality when you live in the inner city, and leaving that inner city, that survival mentality doesn't leave you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's nature nurture kind of argument. But so I grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland, which is one of the rougher like areas of Maryland. I mean, Baltimore City is kind of its own thing, but like PG County was, and PG County is predominantly black, and like the high school I went to was probably, I want to say it was like 85% black, 10% white, 5% Filipino. So yeah, I mean I get what you're saying, but
yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I am a very similar situation with you.
Yeah, I mean, you grew up in the Bay.
Yeah.
So,
but like in a particular area, it sounds just like what you're saying. You know, like like where it's opposite of what Skittles is saying.
So it's been weird, and growing up, like I'll admit that like I was racist until I left that town, because growing up I only saw things getting worse, and my mind related that to, well, that's what you heard. Yeah, there's more black people in the town.
I would say you're safer in a neighborhood like me and Matthew grew up than you are in.
Well, people look out for each other more in lower income neighborhoods. Not so much like impoverished neighborhoods, but lower income neighborhoods. Like
people don't fuck with you.
People don't fuck with you. They look out for you more. Like whereas in a neighborhood,
there's some of that.
Well, it's the other thing too, because like when you go into a lot more of these like upscale neighborhoods, or the more you know, I mean the whiter neighborhoods, like I never know my neighbor, like I never even meet my neighbor.
Right.
When I lived or grew up like in slightly rougher or like a little bit lower socioeconomic or whatever, I usually ended up knowing like the majority of all the people around me. You know,
you meet everyone,
dude.
It's not like you're pulling shit, but I wouldn't say you're pulling things together, but you are kind of looking out for each other. Everybody's.
I live in a fucking townhouse, and I don't know anybody in my neighborhood. Like,
I live in a block of row homes, and I've met the neighbors on my left once, and they've been in there once now, and then I've talked to the people on the right maybe like 2 or 3 times, and I've never talked to or met any of the people like across the street from me.
Okay, so I've noticed that too in Vegas, right? And we're all in probably different neighborhood type situations. Like, you know, Vegas is probably different than where you're at. Is that a thing of the times, or is that a thing of the neighborhoods, or the thing of, because I've never met any of my neighbors.
When we lived in Delaware, you know, just like 2 years ago, like I mean, we lived in an apartment building, but I knew the people on each side of me, and I knew like all the business owners, like in the ground floor, like retail sections. You know, I mean, I don't know, but it seems like as I get older, like the less and less there's a feeling of actual like community, like I think people used to have when they lived in particular neighborhoods.
Right, like you don't have like, you know, you see like on TV or whatever, like the parents know each other, and it's like, you know, they're over for you don't see that anymore.
No, I mean the only, and I know, and there are some kids, like there are some black parties, and so like none of that really exists, and at least I haven't seen it. Maybe it still does somewhere, but like the only other like parents with kids that I like ever like really talk to, or like the other parents at the daycare that I take them to. But I mean, there's other people that live on the street that have kids like around his age. And
how old is?
Yeah,
he's like 2.5 now. So, and I mean, part of that's probably me too, because I could probably make an effort and go knock on some doors or try to set up a play date to go to the park around the corner or whatever.
In my old town, we had block parties, but it was really just like one family that was like huge party. Like this dad, they were the people that always organized that. This dad was a fucking partier. Like I went
to, so he could drink.
I used to hang out with his kids, and we went down into their basement once, and on their glass table there was residue of lines, and like more than once we'd find a fucking roach in the ashtray. Like we found plants growing in their AC system while they were budding, or
and that's like.
Yeah, because you have to turn on the AC when they're budding, I believe.
It's just like that's a that.
But yeah, he was big into partying, and like they just organized a block party and shut off a fucking cul-de-sac, and we just partied in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
You know how many more people are probably doing that coke than just that kid, or that guy? But like in your head, it's just him. But like probably everybody in that neighborhood was down there doing those lines with him.
Well, yeah, but that means that he was just the fucking guy.
Yeah, he was a source. Maybe it wasn't even his coke. Maybe the guy next door to him brought it over. But in your head, because you saw that, you know. I grew up with a lot of that. I saw a lot of that at a very early age, so it, you know, seemed normal.
But I will say that I feel where I grew up at, you know, because I was there through high school. I feel like it was actually like a really good experience for me because I can get along with anybody because of that, you know. And that's one thing that, you know, I think that has a big influence on the way that I examine like racial issues in the United States, because I kind of had the same experience that a lot of like Black kids have growing up, where you're one of the, you know, you're the minority in a system.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was never treated worse by being white, but I have the feeling, like I understand the feeling of feeling like you're different from other people. You know what I mean? And then I also had experiences where I did get treated differently because I was white, mainly by like police officers or other like authority figures and stuff. Like I know I definitely got cut more slack and got more chances than I saw people doing the same thing to me that happened to be
so true
color. You know what I mean? I saw them get treated different.
But I think it's the way you look, though. You know what I mean? Like I worked in casinos for a long time, and I was a pit boss, and I wore a suit. And the way I would get treated that way, or the way I would get treated, like if I'm just right because I'm tatted up, you know, like completely tatted up. And if I didn't have my suit on, whole different thing. It's completely different. So I could see if you couldn't cover your.
Did you wear cover up too for that complexion?
It's hilarious.
But it's a huge. Like I said, I feel like it's been a huge asset because I've been able to. It's easier for me to understand like where other people are coming from because I've seen more of it, and also like I said, I learned how to be able to get along with basically anybody. So like there was a period when I was living in Orlando, and like whenever you say Orlando, people think, you know, Disney World, SeaWorld, Lake Buena Vista, which is just that little like touristy part. The rest of Orlando is actually really hood. And so I was living like in a pretty bad part of Orlando, and like my apartment complex, I was the only white dude in the entire complex that I know of. And then basically probably 80% of everybody else there spoke Creole. They were all Haitians, right? And like I was able to like I never was like scared or anything like that. I mean, I take my precautions and I make sure like I know I try to have situational awareness and not do like dumb things or whatever. But I was able to get along with, you know, everybody that I met there. I mean, by like the second week, I was sitting outside like drinking Heinekens with them.
You know? I think the people are people.
Well, yeah, that's also interesting too, because like sometimes you'll get like sometimes I would get roommates who were like they don't leave the house.
Yeah,
and, like then sometimes I get roommates who are like they're more than fine with just sitting like be with me and sit in the front porch chain smoking all night and talking to everybody.
You know what somas are? You know what soma, the medication somas?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to take a lot of them, like a lot, like at once. If you take more than like 10 of them at once, you turn into Ozzy Osbourne, right? And so I was with my friend picked me up at the airport one time, and he lived in Inglewood. We went to his house. He had hell of people living in his house. He had just gotten out of prison. He had all these other people living in his house. I took a bunch of somas, and we went to sleep, and we were in the back room, and I hadn't met any of these people that were in the house, right? I woke up to him screaming in my face, and like six guys just got out of prison, huddled in the corner, talking about that. All I remember them saying is, he's going to stab us. He's going to stab us. They were huddled in the corner in South Central in Inglewood, right? And they were afraid. They were fucking afraid of me for probably like 3 or 4 days. They wouldn't even talk to me. But my point is, like everyone, they were thinking I was going to stab them. You know what I mean? In their house. And these are like real gangsters, like real Crips. And they were terrified. You know what I mean? So I think everybody's kind of thinks that, I think people are just people is basically what my point is.
Yeah.
You know,
and you're the crazy homeless dude.
No, I'm just saying they have a
I
vision
said
of
in
me.
the road trip segment.
No, man, I'm saying they have a vision of me just because, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. And then like I would think I couldn't walk to the store, but then they tells me, no, you can walk to the store by yourself. Don't, you'd probably have more of a problem if you were with me. Is what, I don't know. I think generally, if you reach out to people, they'll reach out back most of the time, unless you're in their house acting like Ozzy Osbourne.
No, but I think I think being friends with the only black kid in town when in third grade, that did definitely help me going on later in life to be able to make friends with more people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's I really hate to do this, but I have to agree with Graham. I can't believe I just said that out loud.
That's right. We can edit it out.
But he's right. It's being able to not have the presuppositions,
be afraid
about to just be able to recognize that people are people, even if they're different from you. And it may be you're not going to be able to relate or like them because they're people, not because of who they are or what ethnic group they belong to. I mean, there's assholes everywhere that I've met, but if you can go into a situation, just people are people, and taking everybody taking everybody as an individual person, it's a lot easier way to go through life. It's a lot better way to go through life.
It's the Hank Hill strategy.
Yeah.
That's just exactly every day. I just walk out on my front porch and crack open a beer and talk to anyone who walks by.
Right. Well, that's what it is. Because people have predisposed, they think you're going to be a certain way, and when you're not, and they're not the way you thought they were going to be, you could do that a few times, and because some of those guys are some of my best friends now.
Yeah.
And my friend had said something to me that same weekend. He said to me that he thought at the time that because I was white that I wouldn't be afraid of those skinheads with the red suspenders and the Doc Martens and shit. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, I'm terrified of those motherfuckers too. What do you mean? I'm not, just because I'm white doesn't mean I think that they're not,
that's different because
But to him, he would think I'd just be cool with it. Just hey, come here, just because they're white.
If someone's an asshole, they're an asshole. But
that's a thing though that I've run into a whole lot. If you if I run into an old racist white guy, they automatically assume that I think about things the same way that they do, right? So when I when I worked for the tree service, my entire crew was all Spanish, Latin American dudes or whatever. And there were so many times that I would go to a property to meet with a property owner about what we were going to do. And they would, just casually drop a bunch of racist shit. Just you look like me, I look like you. That means you feel the same way about things. We have the same outview. And it was always I really enjoyed whenever I could be a dick to them without obviously being a dick, but to do something that demonstrates that I completely disagree with everything.
Because how ignorant for him not to think that same guy, right? I always think that they're ignorant. How ignorant for them not to think that you're with those people all day. You know what I mean? You probably have a relationship with those people. Yeah. And how ignorant is him to not probably have ever had those kind of relationships, so he doesn't have any idea that it would be possible to even get along with.
And I would take the Spanish dudes over white crew any day.
All day. They're employees of fucking Millennium.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. All day. Yeah, people it's probably why shit's lasted so long. People staying in these little segregated neighborhoods. Racism and shit. I guess. I'm a Yankees too, though.
Yeah, eyes evil. So Pretty Matthew is Charlie Noble.
I think he knows that.
I don't know because he keeps talking about.
No, we're back and forth.
He keeps talking about Charlie Noble.
Well, no, because we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about alien. We were talking about Alien Visions because he said something about Boba's, and I was like, oh, they re-released it. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, they did that and it doesn't taste like. No, they re-released the original version. They were able to get that all worked out. And then we were just talking about and then I recommended Solid Point to him, and then turns out that he likes a bunch of the stuff. Yeah. But I am gonna release the recipes for the yogurt line at some point in the near future. Those will be the next ones, I think.
Was it Flavor West yogurt?
No, I didn't. I didn't use Flavor West yogurt for those because of the whole diacetyl thing. The original versions, like the good versions were Flavor West yogurt, but then we had to pull it after we got the lab testing back on it.
As long as it wasn't FA yogurt.
No, we ended up having to use, I think it was like Greek yogurt and vanilla gelato or vanilla bean ice cream and like a little bit of custard to like get the yogurt base for it.
But yeah, Flavor Art yogurt's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't use that for anything. So if you can, like, if people are okay with diacetyl, get the OG Flavor West yogurt. I heard they were going to put it back up on the site again. It was really, you can do a really, really nice, like creamy, like sweet yogurt base with that.
Yeah, man. Oh shit, we're coming down to the end because I got to get to bed. 5 more minutes, boys. What do we want to talk about? What do we want to spit? I'm pretty sure Kyle died.
I think he did an Irish goodbye.
Yeah, he just bailed out on the group chat.
Oh.
Feel better, Shin.
He hates goodbyes.
Oh yeah, I see that. Dude. Well, no, he just put that in though.
Yeah, I just put that in. Yeah, I've been sick the past 2 days, so.
I finally decided to stop being lazy and actually pull all the chats up on my screen at the same time.
I can't watch them. I don't look at them. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but
yeah,
I start hyper focusing. I get a little agitated.
Delosi's yogurt is banging, actually.
You know what? That vanilla cream is good too with it. Or yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I think I like Delosi yogurt. I like Flavora yogurt. I like TFA Greek.
I like Flavora's.
TFA Greek is good, but you gotta pair it up with stuff to take some of the like bitterness out of it.
I like Flavora's Greek yogurt, not for the yogurt note, but for the milk aftertaste that it has.
Yeah, I use Flavora milk with FA milk for a lassi base.
Oh, for like a mango lassi.
Mm-hmm. Flavora Greek with what? Fresh cream?
No, Flavor Art milk.
No, that's is that what you did? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's Skittles with the yogurt base.
Flavor West Greek yogurt with usually like a vanilla to like add.
No, you used Flavora at some point though, didn't you?
I mean, I'll use Flavor Art fresh cream just to.
Flavora, Flavor Art fresh cream with it.
No, Flavor Art Greek yogurt with like Flavora fresh cream. Yeah, I mean.
Either way,
fresh cream's good for like that musty, cultured taste for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was like years ago. I did something. I thought it was yours with the Flavora Greek yogurt.
Yeah. What was it? Fucking the Cereally Easy.
I think it was something like that. Yeah.
Lime honey yogurt or some shit like that.
Maybe I'm thinking Manson.
You're not supposed to combine butyric acid with diacetyl, but I said fuck it, and it tastes way better.
It really does.
What do you mean you're not supposed to?
Well, it makes that diacetyl compound like.
Yeah, it alters it.
Yeah, it makes it like 30 more times diacetyl, basically.
Which I mean, honestly, like I've said it before, I minimized the use of diketones because of being a business. We want to limit liability, but in my personal stuff, I don't really have an issue, and I don't think we're going to see. It's not going to be some like mass wave of people getting bronchiolitis obliterans from vaping. I really doubt that we're going to see anything. There's always going to be some people, you know what I mean? There's just some people react to different molecules, different ways. So I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to have some health issues from vaping. But
anything though, right? Metal.
If it was super bad though, it would have happened by now. I think.
But it's propaganda, man.
We'll see what Sean Casey does to Canada. Anyway. On that note,
lime coconut yogurt.
Later.
Yeah. A lot of things are propaganda, though. You got to look at who stands to benefit from something being negative, and then who's got the money to get a full campaign going behind it. And I think that's what happened with the diacetyl. or the popcorn lung thing.
I really, like I said, I really think it's going to come down to like an individual thing for like, some people are predisposed to certain medical conditions, which can then be aggravated by exposure to different substances. So I think we will have, there are going to be some people that have health issues that's directly related to vaping, but I think those are going to be the exception versus the rule that everybody was looking at as like a panic thing, even now, like, oh my God, there's going to be an explosion of health related disorder, vaping related health disorders in the near future. I don't think we're going to have that. I think they're just like, some people smoke their entire life and don't get cancer. You know what I mean? It's just
right.
Because of however their body works with that stuff or the luck of the draw or whatever.
But. And we're comparing these to cigarettes, which they're not. You know what I mean? So like they say that they're 95% safer than the worst fucking thing on the planet. You know what I mean? Like it's there's gonna be issues, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. And that goes to, I know it's like a broken record at this point, but we did big damage to ourselves in the beginning of vaping, becoming popular, when everybody was running around like, oh, it's safe. It's just water vapor, bro. And it's like, it's not safe. We can't say that it's safe. No, nobody should ever say it's safe. You should say it's safer.
Right.
It's less harmful than.
Less harmful. That's what I'm saying. You're saying cigarettes are as bad as it gets. In certain aspects, there's things that are terrible. Cigarettes are terrible for your health. Yeah. We all know that.
So is alcohol.
Everything. There's a lot of things that are.
On and off of Cardos for like 2 years, thinking they actually were water vapor.
Don't talk shit about alcohol.
So,
but to say they're safer than that is very misleading. And you're right. There was a lot of damage done at the beginning. To say
we're still trying to correct that, because now everybody's like, oh, then there has to be something terrible with it.
Maybe we'll talk about that next week, because I got into it on In the Mix with Wayne, because like I think the industry was better off with a small amount if we had slowly grown instead of making vaping big. If we had slowly grown, it would have given us time to get it like a self-regulatory committee.
Yeah.
But we can't.
Misinformation.
We can't self-regulate.
No, because we grew too quickly.
We wouldn't have been able to, even if we hadn't
gotten
as big as we are now, because it's just.
We're not going to do anything.
Yeah, we're never going to have. I shouldn't say that. I really hope that one day we have like a unified front, and like some sort of internal regulatory committee or whatever, a trade, like an actual advocacy trade, organization or whatever to help with this kind of stuff. But there's so many people that make money and they don't want to have to like share any of that, and they don't want to have to work with other people. Everybody wants to like do their own thing. And like, self-regulation, we said for years we were running around like self-regulation. Well, under self-regulation, we ended up with shit like Candy Kings. That's what our thought of self-regulation, found us. And we're in this situation now.
The problem is self-regulation's only for people that are part of the community.
Yeah, and people that want to actually do something for the. I want to make money. Like I want to make a lot of money. I like money. I like the things that money can give me. But I also want to make sure that I'm putting out a quality product. Would it have been easier for us to go ahead and, like, when we saw it was popular, make some ridiculous labels and like name some stuff and dump in 5% sweetener just so we can make like the quick money?
Do 5% Flavor West with 5% sweetener.
We totally could have done that, but that's not the way that we want to present ourselves. I wouldn't be happy to put out product like that, because I feel like it's less than what I'm capable of doing, or what we're capable of doing as a company.
And we tried self-regulating, and it's like, it's not illegal, man.
Yeah. Like, who were you to tell me what to do?
And that's the problem with the vaping industry as a whole, is like that it was the problem is that it was founded and it appealed to the people that had that mentality. Like, who are you to tell me what to do?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not, and I don't ever want to tell somebody how to spend their money or not, like, or for somebody to not be able to make money. But I wouldn't be able to be content with myself. Like, I wouldn't be okay with it if I knew I was doing something that was like damaging vaping, because vaping is how I make a living, but it's also something that I actually really care about and something I'm passionate about, because it really is like the only thing that a lot of us have ever found to be able to quit using traditional tobacco products.
Yeah.
And we lose sight of what that is too. I mean, how many people has it killed that you know? You know what I mean? How many people has it killed that I know? Like we lose sight of that. Like it's pretty fucking important. I mean, in reality.
All right.
And we always like to, vaping's always done it where it'll like self-segregate into like different styles of vaping or like different like clicks within vaping. Now there's like a whole thing about like sub-ohm. I see like a ton of like sub-ohm guys talking shit about like pod mods and salt devices. And it's like, why do you care how somebody else vapes? Like, why are you making a value judgment that somebody decides to use a Juul and not use a smoke prints on a Alien 220 and run it at 180 watts at 3 milligram juice? Like, that's not how I want to vape all the time. So
what difference does it make? You ever think about it?
All right. Before we get into it, we'll save that for next week. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful week. We will see you next Thursday, likely at about 10:30 again. Outro music.
Peace.
Lead 'em.
Don't forget that eating ass is a lifestyle, not a choice.